Angular and AngularJS are web frameworks developed by Google. Names are the same, but both frameworks are totally different. Here's the difference between two frameworks. We will be comparing Angular and AngularJS based on certain parameters. How these are different, what are the things which make these two frameworks different. Here are a couple of parameters on which we will let you know that why these two frameworks are different from each other. The one thing is architecture. Then the other thing is language, mobile support, dependency injection, routing, structure, Angular CLI, speed, and management. So let's start from what is AngularJS. AngularJS is basically a JavaScript framework which was developed by Google. So this is a single page application and it has many challenges, and there are other members with community in a community which supports AngularJS development. It aims to simplify development and the testing of application, which is sparse single page application. It provides a client-side model view controller MVC structure. So in some other PHP applications we have MVC structures, but that is not on client side. That is basically on server side MVC structure. But in AngularJS, Google offered MVC structure on client side. It makes easy testing and development in this framework. It also makes the development process really easy than any other JavaScript framework, apparently when Google started that. On the other hand, Angular is totally rewrite of AngularJS. It's totally different. As I said, although name seems might be the same, but overall functionality and the core logic of writing the language between these two frameworks is totally different. Angular is based on TypeScript. This TypeScript was developed by Microsoft. TypeScript programming language is designed for the large-scale web development applications. It needs to be transcompiled to JavaScript, as the browsers only support JavaScript languages. There are many versions of Angulars like Angular 2, Angular 4, Angular 5, Angular 6, etc. Currently, the latest version which is most widely used is Angular 11. Okay, so now you have the idea what is Angular and AngularJS, how these are developed. Let's see how we can compare both the languages and see what are the difference between these two languages. As I said earlier, both Angular and AngularJS are developed by Google. So people tend to get confused between the names, although these names are similar, but these are totally different languages, totally different frameworks. AngularJS is a JavaScript framework, while Angular is a TypeScript framework. Therefore, in order to learn Angular, no prior knowledge of AngularJS is required. It is also important to note that the Angular versions 2 to 7 are not currently supported. Hence, once you make an application, I would recommend you to use latest version, which is currently Angular 11. But if you have application older than Angular Plus version, which is using Angular 8 Plus, so that is fine. Otherwise, please upgrade your applications to a latest version. That is highly recommended to use latest version of Angular application. Okay, so now let's move on and compare these two based on the parameters. The first parameter which creates the difference between these two frameworks is language. AngularJS is developed in JavaScript, but on the other hand, Angular is developed in TypeScript. So as I said, TypeScript is the superset of JavaScript. TypeScript provides more advanced and complex features, which really helps developer to make a better professional and aesthetic web applications. AngularJS supports MVC structure, model view controller. Hence, the business logic that will be written in model, and all the functionality which we present, that will be presented in a view. In AngularJS, business logic is written within the model, and the output which will be displayed in a view, that will be written in a controller. AngularJS generates all the business logic within the controller and generates output, and there it sends that output to the view that will be displayed in a view, and we can see that on a single page application. On the other hand, Angular makes a use of components and directives. Angular directives are the functions which are basically compiled when they are discovered by the DOM in the application. These directives empower the applications in HTML through advanced syntax. Components are nothing but the directives with a predefined templates. Reason why we use @ in TypeScript, because it is very much distinctive and central to Angular. @ component directives actually expand or enhance the directives directive decorator with the features that are template oriented. Components and directive provide modern structure to the application, and it makes really easy to create and maintain a large single page application. Another important feature which differentiates between these two languages is mobile support. AngularJS does not support mobile versions, but on the other hand, Angular does support that. Angular is compatible with all the mobile versions. You can use that in any mobile device, and you can also use in your, if you are using laptops, you can use that in Firefox, Chrome, or Opera. There's some mobile version option which we can switch, and we can see that result in any device. Or if you shrink or expand the Chrome window or the browser window, you can see Angular will immediately react to your changes and will shrink and will expand the layout based on your selection and your what you're doing at what device you have selected. But this feature is not available in AngularJS. On the other hand, Angular does support mobile version, and Angular does work fine for that. The other difference between these two languages is expression syntax. Expressions are basically used to bind the data with the HTML. So here's how we use expressions in the application. AngularJS requires a special ng directive for property binding and data binding in the application. On the other hand, Angular uses small braces for data binding and bracket braces for property binding. Another key feature differentiated between these two frameworks is dependency injection. So this is a very important thing. Dependency injection is a vital application design pattern. In this pattern, classes are injected with the dependency rather than injected hard-coded in whole the application. In this pattern, classes are injected based on dependencies rather than injected hard-coded within the classes. These dependencies are usually objects or the services, and that is required by the component class. However, AngularJS does not support dependency injection, but on the other hand, we can use dependency injections in Angular. We can inject services, we can inject objects however we want in the DOM whenever it is needed. So that is a cool feature which gives a lot of support and makes the application really cost consuming, in a sense that least resources will be consumed in an application because we are just injecting the dependency when we need. Otherwise, on the other hand, if we want to do that in Angular, we have to inject services and all the other subclasses within class. We have to inject hard-coded, and they are going to reside there in the application. The other differences between these two frameworks is structure. When we come to structure thing and we analyze the structure of AngularJS, it's a bit complex. But on the other hand, if we see the structure of an Angular application, that is really simple. What makes this application structure more simple? That is how this application is built, how this application is designed, how components and all the other injections and dependencies work. That is really most effective and makes the application really simple rather than having a complex set of all the libraries and injections and all the data which is required in the application that is injected hard-coded. It makes really complex AngularJS, but on the other hand, Angular structure is really very simple. So once your application structure is really simple, it makes development very easy, it makes the maintenance of the code very easy. So these are the cool features which make the Google team think that we have to rewrite AngularJS to Angular, because these were the things they had in their minds, that we have to take care of this stuff, and they could not do all that keeping the AngularJS current structure. So that's why they had to switch to another framework, that is Angular, and they had to rewrite what they have written with the new ideas. Routing. The other feature is routing. Routing helps to navigate between the two pages from one page to another. As I said, Angular and AngularJS both has a single page application structure. So it is important to navigate between the two pages and make and consume the least amount of resources which is required to route or to navigate between the pages. In AngularJS, $root provided that when function is used in route and config to navigate between the different pages. In Angular, router module dot for route method is used to navigate between different pages. Another very important feature which makes Angular development very much easy, that is Angular CLI. This is a very cool structure, that is a very cool feature which is supported by Angular. We can make components, we can make services, we can make a lot of things, and we can update our modules in that Angular with Angular CLI. So Angular CLI provide a lot of support and it makes development really easy. But on the other hand, for AngularJS, Angular CLI does not support AngularJS. So what I will have to do by copy pasting this Angular CLI is not gonna make us it's not gonna make any component for us, not gonna make any services for us. But on the other hand, if we are developing Angular application, this Angular CLI is really a cool feature which we can use in development, and it will really makes the development easy. It will really save a lot of time in development. That's a really important feature which developers are gonna love. Another cool feature which differentiates between these two languages, Angular and AngularJS, is the speed factor. So analysts has examined these two applications and the speed result of these two applications. According to them, Angular is 5 times more fast than the AngularJS. So on which base they have made this conclusion? Based on data binding, loading the DOM, updating the DOM, and all the activities which is going to happen in the DOM, all the structure which happen for the complex application. We have to make rapid response for the data requested, and we have to get that data present in the DOM. We have to navigate between different pages and switch between different URLs. That's all going to happen in a DOM, a single page application. So based on all this stuff which is happening in the DOM, analysts has figured out that Angular is 5 times more fast than the AngularJS. So these are all the factors which are involved between these two languages. I mean, I have told you the benefits of Angular. I have also told you the other side which is happening in AngularJS. So this is pretty much clear that why Angular is more better and more fast and more the 2020s current world language, and why we have to switch our applications and we have to move our development team to Angular instead of AngularJS, because it provides a lot of functionality. It will save you a lot of time. It will give you a lot of support. The application you are gonna make will be really mobile friendly. It will be really fast, and there are a couple of other features which you will learn down the road. And of course, the most important thing is Angular team is working on Angular framework and they are releasing different versions in every 6 months. So it means that they are continuously improving the applications in each 6 months. When we get to a new version that is really fast, new features have been included, and they are really working on it continuously. So that's the another thing, that their team is really supporting the Angular, and we have to work in Angular and while making the new applications, because it is a lot more easy to work in that. Thank you very much.